All right, Gamecock fans, we're back live, 8 o'clock post game show for you guys that wasn't here for the live stream. I wanted to talk a little bit about the game and get your guys' reaction to the game. Um, Kind of a blowout, honestly, from the start. First snap of the game, 75 yards. Jaden Sellers takes it to the house. And from there, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Some positive takeaways from the game outside of just creating a blowout, 51-7. The talk Coastal. I've seen a lot of their fans are upset. They thought they were a better football team, could be more competitive against South Carolina. Didn't turn out to be that way. Um, but there were some really good things out of just winning this football game. I think this was maybe a band aid on what's been really bad since the Kentucky game, all the frustration, all the just through me, the fans. It's just been a frustrating season. And I think it's getting to the points that the fans really just wanted to get this season over with. But you get a game like this, you're not going to a bowl game. Uh, if nothing else, it makes the fans happy. We do have Clemson coming next week. You beat Clemson. I think, I don't know, there's still a lot of whether just things that could have happened this season that would have just improved the season. Had Beamer thought about getting rid of Mike Shula or got rid of Mike Shula um, when he got rid of Lonnie Teasley. There's so many questions that the fans will still have. There's a lot of things that we'll still look at down the road as saying, why was Teasley back this year with the O line? Knowing we gave up over 40 plus sacks last year, why did we bring him back? Why did we promote Shula? Why didn't we get rid of Shula? There's always going to be that. What if we had made or done something different earlier in the season? Would it be as bad as it turned out? It's all, you can't even know. Honestly, I think we all projected, yes, the season would have been a lot different. Maybe we could have got the extra win, 2 wins or something to get bowl eligible. You get those 15 extra practices. That's very important for younger players. But you know what? You take the victory, and I know a lot of the South Carolina fan base is real excited right now after the win today. Maybe it does some healing between Shane Beamer and the South Carolina fan base. A lot of questions coming that's got to be answered. Offensive coordinator. Um, does Mike Fury get a shot? Do we hire from just a lot of questions? But just based on today, I mean, South Carolina offensively, uh, we had 419 yards in the first half. Ended up with 579 yards. Defense played well. I think gave up less than 50 yards of rushing to Coastal Carolina. And I get it. Coastal's kind of down too. There's not their original starting quarterback. It's their backup quarterback that's playing. He's only played in 4 games. But South Carolina made the plays they needed to make. And like I said, it just, once South Carolina took the lead in the first half, they scored that first touchdown. It's just pretty much dominating, right? The only points that Coastal got on the board was on a block punt. They got 7 off of that. But other than that, it was just pretty dominating out of South Carolina. It was really refreshing to see some new faces get in the game. We've been waiting to see a lot of these younger players get out there and see what they could do, make plays. Um, we finally won, Cocky Ryan says. Yeah, yeah. And the good thing is we got far enough ahead to where we could get the young guys in. Ryan, just some faces like Malik Clark that got out there and made a catch. You know, and you got your seniors. A lot of your seniors, Bradley Dunn got his touchdown in. It was great for that, putting his 4 years in. Uh, Luke Doty got his time on the field. I really wish it would have worked out where Luke Doty could have kneeled out maybe a last drive or something, victory formation for his time and all the effort he's put into the university. You're always thankful for guys like that. Um, so the seniors got their night. A lot of them got in. That's great for them. South Carolina's got a lot of, like we talked about, they got a lot of questions to answer. Where's Howell been all year? I mean, this kid has really turned it on the last 2 weeks. I think that's a question that a lot of Gamecock fans will want to answer, but they like what they've seen out of Juwan Howell. Looks like the best running back we got in the running back room right now. Definitely returning next year. Big kid, fast kid. Really wanted to see him get out in space. He takes a hit. He keeps his legs going. He churns out yards. Uh, nice catch out of the backfield. I mean, I think he's definitely a future there at South Carolina at running back. Last week he averaged 10 yards. To say we will look this time next year to see who we're playing in the playoffs is absolutely crazy. Yeah, I'm not going as far as know any kind of playoff stuff. I think at that point you're just being delusional. Um, I think you got to look at one step at a time. First, take care of business. And I put this out in the video talking about doable. Take care of business and do what you need to do to beat Clemson. That's doable right now. Then you got to work on coaching hires, your offensive coordinator, uh, whether you leave Sean as the O line coach, whether you hire O line coach, whether you hire a tight end coach. I still think we need to look at a running back coach. Honestly, I'm just looking at how our running back room has been handled this year and seeing what Howell is now bringing to this team. There was many times this year where we couldn't get short yardage and the run game wasn't working. What if we put this kid in the game? People say things about practice and stuff. I mean, some of the greatest Gamecocks ever were not very good at practice. Um, and it wasn't SEC competition. Celebrate victories when you get them. That's Beamer's thing. If this was a Spurrier game, he'd be like, celebrate your senior stuff or you got to win or whatever, but we got to go beat that team upstate or they're coming into our house and we got to beat the team from upstate. That was kind of how Spurrier would be versus the way Beamer is. But like I say, I don't know. This fan base has been through so much since the Kentucky game. You got to celebrate it, right? I don't know. Coastal Carolina, they got to play James Madison next week. I think they're pretty much out of winning their conference now. They're not going to catch up to James Madison. I wouldn't think. And like I said, their fans are fairly upset. We can kind of go through. Let's see what Coastal had in this game, um, stats wise. It never was a challenge. I mean, it just never got to that. The excite Look, we all look for excitement, and we do. And where do we find excitement? I find excitement in the players that got to play. That's just the way I look at it. Um, Finding excitement in beating a team that you're supposed to beat, that's really, really, really hard for me to do. You come out and say, but we won 51-7. We won by 44 points. It's like, but you should. Um, that's what I'm trying to say. The difference in our talent and their talent should always favor South Carolina to win this football game. I think some fans will still be upset that this team didn't do better during the season. Water under the bridge now, right? Michael Ray says the difference in talent and speed was very evident. Of course, and size. I mean, those guys, they're. It's what I talk about when you start talking about bringing in an offense coordinator and somebody from one of these schools like a Coastal or East Carolina or one of them that's never called plays or really been successful against week in and week out SEC competition. So I think you got to be careful in who you hire. You know, yeah, Chris is right. The players could have mailed it in. They didn't. And it being a big night, senior night, you expect the players want to come out and play for the seniors on the team, right? Even if they're not really caring about the the season or whatever, you play for your brother. And the seniors on this team, the guys come out there and play for them. Sellers was 16 of 20. What an improvement in passing percentage for him. 274 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. We know he can throw. Yes, he will heat it up and when he gets pressure on him. Tonight, I think he's preparing himself for Clemson again. When we watched Sellers run the football, he ran with a purpose. He wasn't hesitant when he ran with the football. He was running over people. Uh, he wasn't sliding. I think that he's ready now. He wants this Clemson game again, and I think you're going to see a lot of Lenore's that we saw last year against Clemson. I think the great thing is now we're not going to see the Mike Shula offense against Clemson. That's improved. The play calling, there's some razzle dazzle stuff in there that they do, little eye candy stuff. They tried that one little reverse pitch thing, didn't really work, but it gives the other team something to think about without just focusing on us trying to run the ball up the middle. You know what I mean? That just got so old. We tried to run up the middle today, and it wasn't greatly successful. And we had the size advantage, offensive line versus defensive line. O-line had one drive there. They kind of stunk it up, but then they made up for it. They created a big hole for Fuller to run through. Like I said, Doty got in. Aaron Nolan got in. Nolan was 2 for 3. Cutter Woods was 3 for 5. Luke Doty got 1 for 2. Overall, we were 22 of 30 passing for 302 yards. Big improvement for South Carolina. I mean, we were just talking weeks ago, we couldn't get over 350 yards total offense. You got almost 600 today. And I get it. It's Coastal Carolina's defense. We have amazing speed advantage. You could just tell when our players broke, they couldn't catch up. Even when Lenore's broke one to the outside, might have been just in the third quarter. I don't remember when it was, but he kind of got there. He did a little stutter step, and those guys kind of hesitated, and he got to the outside. He just too much speed for those guys to catch up. Fury calls better plays in his sleep than Shula. Anything that looks like a college offense, and I'll tell you this, it looked more like this week they had less and less of what the playbook was from Shula. The play calling looked different. Now, when you're blocking and your quarterback can get the ball out, but he was getting the ball out quick. There was quick snaps, quick throws. There wasn't these long drop backs. There wasn't really looking for a lot to develop. You got Sellers was able to get it out and get it into the hands of his playmakers, and the guys made plays for him. Look at that 75-yard catch by Pup. Pup ended up with 125 yards. And then we started seeing other wide receivers get in. Murph got a touchdown. It was that's the young guys. These young guys is what our future looks like right now. Some of them hit the transfer portal. Who knows? You can't ever guess what these kids are thinking, what's in their mind, what's in their head. We don't know, who comes along, what agent calls, who gets in touch with their mom, their dad, their Uncle Sam. You don't know who's going to return, who ain't, and you don't bet the farm on it because I won't. I definitely won't. Rushing yards, of course, Lenore Sellers had 8 carries, 82 yards, also 2 touchdowns. So Lenore's had a 4 touchdown night. Definitely nothing wrong with that. Matthew Fuller, 8 carries for 63 yards. Hal ended up with 3 carries, 18 yards. That's not right. I think the stats, they got something mixed up on your stats here. Because Jordan Harrell he definitely carried the ball more than 3 times for 18 yards. So I think ESPN's got their stat lines kind of jacked. They said Faison 5 for 57. Oscar Attaway 3 for 22. Yeah, something's kind of a little bit jacked up there. Juwan Harrell definitely had more than 18 yards. So that stat line's jacked. Jared Brown, of course, on that one play, 1 for 19 yards rushing. Bradley Dunn, 5 carries, 5 yards, 1 touchdown. The senior got his Oh, Jawan had 2 catches, 52 yards. Murph, 4 catches, 58. Jaden Sellers, 4 for 127. Brian Rowe, 4 for 18. Brady Hunt, 3 for 16. Brady had 2 rushing touchdowns with the Carolina tight end. Would it be, what are we going to call that, y'all? We got to come up with our own name. We don't want the tush push. Um, yeah, you're right. It was 52 yards on 2 receptions. Rooster is number 1 Gamecock. Quentin says, "What's up, Quentin? How you doing, buddy?" Yeah, it was the 52 yards on a couple of the pass catches, but I still think he's our best running back by far. Um, I seen some people say, "Oh, well, I don't want to hear nothing about another running back out of the portal. We just need to rock with Howell and Fuller next year." I'm like, dude, you can't start a season with like 2, 3 running backs. Uh, and let's not forget our high school kid just flipped back to Florida State. Defensively, Sean Murphy, who played a great game. There's a name right there. Sean Murphy played a great game. He was in the backfield making hits. He made some big hits. 8 solo tackles. Justin Oronquo, 9 total tackles, 8 solo himself. Justin the Oak. ESPN's always jacked. Yeah, I was thinking one of Jawan's was, uh, one of his good runs was actually a pass catch. Um, I was only remembering the first pass catch where he broke free and got some runs, but I think one of the other ones I was thinking it was a rush was actually a reception. Um, did I notice they put up the picture of Aaron Nolan and said it was Lenore Seller? Yeah, that's all over Twitter right now. Um, DQ Smith, 7 total tackles, 5 solo. Peyton Williams, 4 and 4. Brian Thomas Jr., 4 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for a loss. Sean Murphy, yeah. See, that's what I say. He had 2.5 tackles for a loss. That was great. Um, VK says Hal definitely should be playing more. He's just got a I don't know what it is. He's a more of a, trying to describe who he reminds me of when he runs the football. He's not a Derrick Henry size, but he kind of reminds me of that style. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like the first guy he makes contact, he kind of bounces off of him. He picks up extra yardage after getting hit. He's linkier. Like, I don't think he's much taller than the other guys. Um, but he's just the way he's built. It's almost like I don't know. I don't know. It's harder to say. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a Derrick Henry, just not of that size, but that style of a runner. Where other guys are more shorter, seem shorter, stockier type builds. And Hal's a big kid. I mean, he's over 220 pounds. I think he's like 6'1". So it's not like he's no small running back. Um, but his style of run is just different. It's unique. Uh, I think a lot different than anybody else we have in that backfield. And he just looks good when he runs. You know, he runs with confidence, um, patience. He catches the ball well. So, I mean, something to look forward to, right? We've been really wanting that kid to get a lot more playing time, really the last 2 years, and he just hasn't. Which, you had Rocket Sanders last year. You wouldn't expect many running backs to get a lot of time outside of Rocket. Even though Oscar was great as a backup, we got to see Oscar get in too. Um, so it's good for some of the seniors. Some of the younger guys we had in there, you got Kelvin Hunter, we got to see get in late. That was a good thing. We did get to see a lot of our um, younger guys get in defensively, offensively. Like I said, some of the young wide receivers. You got a good wide receiver core. You just got to see who gets developed and comes out of that group that we got last year. Can we keep them all? That'll be a big question too. You know, you got Murph. We saw Gidron get in. We saw Malik Clark get in. Um, Can you keep all of them? Well, we're playing right now with the way Fury's calling it, and I imagine the way they want the offense to look next year. You're running 3, 4 wide receivers. I think Nick comes back another year, especially. I think that's a tie-in right there. If you want to talk about whether Lenore's comes back another year, a lot of that has to do with Nick Harbor and his brother, right? I think Fury and Elliott could be dual sideline OCs with the main play caller upstairs. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of that. It did work for LSU, if y'all remember, but both guys were up in the booth having co-OCs. But you also had a NFL laden talent pool at LSU in 2019. South Carolina still has a lot of questions, and I don't. Our offense isn't what that was. It'll be interesting if you're going to. I don't know how to describe what I really want to say about the offensive coordinator thing. If you're going to go with a younger guy that's never called plays against SEC defenses, you're no matter what you do, you're taking a shot in the dark anyway. But you need to go. If it's me, I'm going with. If you ask me personally, I'm going with a more experienced offensive coordinator that's called plays in the SEC, that understands the speed of the defenses, that understands how to call plays in the SEC. Is it always going to be perfect? No. I mean, we see some really great play callers that one week can put 40, 45 on the board, and the next week you come out and you put 20. Players still got to make plays. We don't like to beat them up, and we don't like to talk about it a lot, but at the end of the day, players still have to make plays. And your O-line's got to block. That's been and not just the O-line. I'm not going to say it's just the O-line. Your running backs have to block. Your tight ends have to block. Everybody has to do their job to help an offense to move. And then you play against great defenses week in and week out. And they're just as talented as any offense that's going to walk on the field. But I don't know. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions on who the offensive coordinator should be. I think tomorrow I'm going to sit down and do some research through some guys. I've talked about a few. I've heard some names pop up, like the Utah State guy. What's his name? John David Baker over at ECU. There's been some names getting thrown around. I just worry about these guys never, the North Texas guy, these guys never calling offenses against SEC defenses. And that scares me. Now, could they be great? Could they be successful? Could I just be an idiot? Yeah. I mean, maybe they really can dial it up and do what they do. But there's no evidence of it. There's no proof because we haven't seen it before. And that's just my question to it. You know what I mean? If you go with guys like Jake Spavital or Bobby Petrino, and no, like I said, I'm not a Malzahn guy. I've heard his name thrown around. I think Malzahn's offense started getting figured out. No, I get it. Florida State. If you got the talent, maybe he'd be great with South Carolina's talent. Maybe I should not think that way. I'm just not sold. Malzahn's offense works in the SEC, and we could say, well, Florida State came out and they beat Alabama. Well, Malzahn's always been successful against that. Well, about as successful against Alabama as any other head coach has been in the last 20 years. But I just don't know week in and week out if people don't figure out the Malzahn offense again in the SEC, and it's not as good as you want it to be. But I don't know. I could be totally wrong. It's not on my shoulders to make that decision. Beamer said it'll come down to him. He's Donati and all those guys. They're going to sit down and talk about it. They'll probably go through a list of names. They may have already been. I'm sure they've already started going through a list of names. They may have already even contacted people. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and we're not going to know what goes on behind closed doors until they want us to know. Some stuff will eventually get leaked out. And maybe there's not even any conversations. Maybe a lot of those guys that are on that list um, are trying to get through championship games or trying to get through some of those names, maybe guys that are going to be in the playoffs. We don't know who they contact. We don't know who they talk to, but it'll be an interesting next couple of weeks. Like I said, I think we focus on the doable right now, and the doable is to go out and beat Clemson. I think Clemson fans are really worried about their offensive line holding up against us. I worry about them running on our defense a little bit. I think we need to stall that out. Um, I want us to continue to be aggressive on offense as we were today. If you make mistakes, you make mistakes. You go out and you just stay aggressive. Um, the kids played to win today. We didn't play not to lose. And I think that's a major difference. If I have to say that out of a positive, the most positive thing I think I take away from today is not just because it was Coastal, it was the attitude towards the way we played Coastal. And it was the attitude even of the coaches to stay aggressive. You know, we knew at the end of the game scoring was going to slow down when you start changing your quarterback out and you started bringing in all the young guys and the seniors that haven't played or whatever. I didn't expect offensive explosion out of those guys. So I'm not even worried about the end of the game not scoring a lot of points. But I like the fact that we didn't play hesitant and we didn't play. I think we learned a valuable lesson against Texas A&M where we kind of got, especially defensively, where we gave a lot of cushion and we just played like it was almost we're playing not to lose instead of playing to win. I think today we played to win and we stayed aggressive. We kept our offense going. A lot of great things happened to be able to move forward to Clemson next week. And you got to be happy about that. Now, Clemson's a totally different animal than Coastal Carolina. Don't get me wrong. They got athletes, they got speed, they got everything that they need. And South Carolina's not had a lot of luck against them at home. 2013, last time, I think we beat Clemson at home. So, over 10 years, 12 years now, we need to get this win at home, stay aggressive, and have fun doing it. Go out and just have fun. Have fun. So, we're going to win it. We're going to have fun. We're not going to be tense. We're not going to be all, you got nothing to lose. I mean, you're not going to a bowl game. I know Beamer said he'd like to go to a bowl game if we're at 5-7. And no. I would love it for the kids to get the extra practices, but you didn't earn it. You didn't earn it, Shane Beamer. I mean, you want to send the kids off to a bowl game and you sit your ass at home, Shane Beamer, then you do that. But no, I don't think coaching-wise Shane Beamer earned. How bad that sounds against the kids, and I really dislike it because I'd love for the kids to have that, be able to go to a bowl game and enjoy it, especially some of these young kids that's never been to one. But Shane Beamer didn't earn going to a bowl game, and he shouldn't be given one. That's just the way I feel about it, and people can say I'm wrong or whatever. You got to earn shit. There's no participation trophies. You start that's the problem right now. Everybody wants to give all the, here's how I'll put it. Stop worshiping people that don't know or give a crap about you. People worship coaches. They want to worship players. They want to worship politicians. They want to worship people on TV. Worship God. Because at the end of the day, when something happens to you, he's the only one that's going to take care of you. These coaches, these players, these celebrities, all these people y'all worship, not saying my fans on here, the ones that can come on here, but the people of the world need to realize all these people they worship and they give their money to and they do all this shit for, don't give two craps about you. And the day you die, they're not even going to know you're gone. But anyway, that's my sermon for tonight. I love all you guys. I'm going to get out of here and go eat some dinner. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. We're almost at that 1,000 subscribers. Please keep sharing, hitting that thumbs up button for me. It's really working. YouTube algorithm really helped me out. The live stream wasn't great that today. I didn't think it would be against the Coastal game. I think some of the fan base is tuned out, to be honest. They'll tune back in for the Clemson game. But I think mentally the fan base needed a break today. and they got to break by winning, and they got to break. Some of them got to break by just getting away from it. And you can't blame anybody for anything, right? Anyway, love all you guys. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll holler at you later. Peace.